Hello, beautifuls! I want to talk today about tenderness. It's not a word we use very often, is it? And even less is it something that we show or share with another. If I asked you, when was the last time you were treated by another with tenderness? Can you remember? I'm pausing because for the vast majority of people, that memory goes a really long way back. And for many, they can't remember a time when they were treated with genuine tenderness. Next question I have is, when is the last time you were genuinely tender with another? And lastly, when was the last time that you were tender with yourself? That one probably needs the longest pause, right? When we think about tenderness, it really just means gentle kindness or gentle affection. And that's something we all long for, so it might seem ironic or unreasonable that it's not something we experience very often. The truth of the matter is, we don't experience tenderness very often because we've been conditioned in a way that prevents us from looking at things in a tender way. In the conditioning that we have faced, unless we are living in some indigenous tribe that is secluded in some part of the world, we have been conditioned to believe that others either help us get what we want, help us feel what we want, or they hinder us. And in that place where they hinder us, they become the enemy. So in the conditioning that we have, people are either something we use or we need to be afraid of or fight against. Now that doesn't leave any room for tenderness, does it? And if we want to experience tenderness, we first have to cultivate that for ourselves. And it is an interesting process because we have to shift, right, from that mental place and the beliefs that we have held for a very, very long time about others and about ourselves. And I want to give one example about how we can nurture tenderness into our experience. So one of the ways is in our language. Most of our language is not conducive to any type of tenderness, right? And when we come out of the mental space where we're looking at another as a tool or a hindrance, and we move into the heart space, that's when life becomes really interesting. That's where the tenderness can't help but ooze and seep into all of our experiences. And in this case, we're talking about language. So in the conditioning that we are accustomed to, we will hear somebody say something and we generally judge it. We assume it means something. We assign it a value of either good or bad. Right off the bat, we're judging it. Is this going to help me? Is it going to get me what I want? If not, oh, it's bad. Is this aligned with what I believe? If not, it's bad. Right? But when we're coming from the heart space, when we listen to another we hear something very different. Even if somebody is saying something that is judgmental, that is criticizing, that is expressing extreme displeasure, the only things we will ever hear when we are coming from that tender heart space is please or thank you. No matter how they express it, whether they express it violently or they express it eloquently, that is what we will hear. Because when we connect to another at a heart level, we are always talking about needs and feelings. And when we're upset about something, if we're not coming from the heart place, well, we're going to blame, we're going to lash out. But when we're coming from the heart space, we understand we're upset because there's a need that's not being met. And even when we listen to another and they're upset, we understand they're upset because there's a need not being met, and we hear beyond the words, we see beyond the behavior, and we connect in that place of tenderness. And the thing is we don't need them to understand tenderness. We don't need them to be in their tenderness in order for us to show up that way. But I guarantee you, every time we show up in our tenderness, it will soften them just a little bit. Again, that's another one of those beautiful examples about where when we do the work, we start changing the world. It is my heartfelt desire that each and every one of you experience tenderness today. Tenderness with yourselves and tenderness with others. I know that it takes a little bit to reframe this understanding and to sink into the heart space, because we've been taught too that to do that means we're weak and we're vulnerable. And nothing could be further from the truth. When we're in that space, we're all powerful and loving. Thank you so much for listening to this perspective. If you enjoyed this video, as always, I would love a thumbs up, a share if there's somebody that you think might benefit from it. And if you'd like to receive more of these videos, please hit the subscribe and all. And until we speak again, please be well.